Once upon a time in a faraway land, there was a little shoe that fit perfectly on the tiny foot of a girl named Lily. And this was no ordinary shoe. Oh no, this shoe had a special power. It could step into stories. Every time Lily put on her magical shoe, she would find herself inside the storybook that she was reading. She'd met talking trees, gingerbread men, and even a grumpy troll who lived under a bridge. But today was different. Today Lily opened a book about a brave knight who battled fierce dragons and flew high on the wings of a griffin. As she began reading, the shoe tapped against the words on each page, which were filled with exciting adventures. When the shoe landed on a page with swirling clouds and flashes of lightning, it suddenly felt like they were sucked inside the book. The shoe found itself amidst towering mountains and dark, foreboding forests. In the distance, they saw a magnificent castle made of sparkling quartz and silver, just like the one in the story. But as they got closer, they noticed something strange. The castle was being battered by strong winds, and waves from a stormy sea crashed against its walls. Peeking through an open window, the shoe saw a king pacing back and forth with worry etched on his face. "Oh no," whispered the shoe. "This is the story of the endless storms. If we can't find a way out of here, we'll be trapped forever." Just then, a royal guard ran up to the king and shouted, "Your Majesty, the bridge is gone. The storm has washed it away and we can't get to the endless crystal." "Without the endless crystal," the king cried, "the storms will rage forever. We must do something quickly." The shoe knew it had to help. It stepped out the window and onto the battlements. Below them, the wind howled and rain lashed down. But the shoe was determined. Looking around, they spotted a small boat bobbing in the waves below. With a deep breath, the shoe jumped into the churning water. The journey across the stormy sea was perilous, but the shoe held on tight to its dream of escaping the book. Finally, they reached a small, deserted island. The shoe climbed out of the boat and shook itself free of the salt water. Then they started to explore. On the other side of the island, nestled between rocks and pebbles, the shoe discovered a cave. Inside, the air was still and dry, a welcome change from the howling wind outside. On the cave floor, the shoe found an old wooden box. They pried it open and found a quill made of pure starlight. As the shoe held the quill in their laces, they remembered what the wise owl had told them inside the storybook. Whenever you're lost and have no way out, draw a bridge with the quill made of starlight. You shall return home when the first rays of dawn touch the tip of your shoe. Hope surged through the shoe. They took the quill and dipped it in the ink made of fallen stars. Then they drew a bridge across the stormy sea, connecting the island to the distant castle. As the first hint of sunrise appeared in the sky, the shoe raced toward the light. With every step, the path beneath them grew brighter and stronger, until finally, with a gentle glow, they were back on Lily's bookshelf. The book lay open beside them, and the shoe slipped inside, closing the cover and returning to the safety of Lily's closet. The Book of Endless Storms returned to its place on the shelf, its pages whispering secrets of adventure. And as for the shoe, it glowed softly with leftover story magic. Lily opened her closet door and gasped in surprise. The shoe looked like a shooting star fallen to earth, sparkling and shimmering with an otherworldly light. Carefully, she picked it up and slipped it on her foot. It felt warm and alive, as if the countless adventures it had experienced were eager to be shared. And as Lily opened a new storybook, she couldn't help but smile, knowing that with her magical shoe, every day was an opportunity for a new adventure. She stepped into the shoe and found herself in the world of make-believe where everything was possible. In the land of Fantasia, Lily and her shoe were greeted by fantastical creatures and breathtaking landscapes. They encountered playful unicorns, mischievous fairies, and wise old tree spirits who shared their magical powers with those who respected nature and believed in the impossible. But there was a problem. The Queen of Hearts had stolen the rainbow crystal, plunging Fantasia into darkness. Without the crystal, the flowers wilted, the animals lost their colors, and even the stars hid their light. The Queen of Hearts wanted all the magic for herself, and she used it to build a wall around her castle, keeping everyone out and trapping the magical creatures inside. Determined to bring back the light, Lily and the shoe set off on a quest to find the 7 lost fragments of the rainbow crystal. Their journey took them through enchanted forests, over sparkling rivers, and into mysterious caves. Along the way, they met a colorful cast of characters, each with their own unique abilities and challenges. There was Sparky, a brave little firefly whose light had been dimmed by the queen's magic. With some encouragement from Lily, Sparky regained his brightness and became their guide through the darkest paths. Then they met Flora, a shy pixie who could control the flowers, but she was so worried about the dying plants that she had forgotten her magic. Lily helped Flora see that even the smallest act of kindness could make a difference, and together they brought new life to the wilting flowers. Next, they encountered Rocky, a wise old turtle who knew the history of Fantasia. But he had become so disheartened by the loss of color that he had buried his shell in the mud, refusing to come out. Lily and the shoe dug up Rocky's shell and reminded him of the beauty that still existed in the world. Touched by their kindness, Rocky revealed the location of the first crystal shard. With each shard they collected, the shoe glowed brighter, its magic growing stronger. Meanwhile, the Queen of Hearts, sensing their progress, sent her army of heartless soldiers to stop them. But Lily and her shoe were prepared. Using the magic they had collected, they transformed ordinary objects into fantastic weapons, like shields made of flower petals and swords forged from beams of light. Finally, with all 7 shards in hand, Lily and the shoe returned to the queen's castle. The queen, consumed by her own magic, had become so powerful that she didn't even recognize her own mother. Heartbroken but determined, Lily used the last of her strength to remind the queen of the love they once shared. Touched by these memories, the queen's heart softened and she returned the rainbow crystal to its rightful place on the throne. As the crystal began to glow, its light spread throughout Fantasia, bringing color and magic back to the land. The animals regained their hues, the flowers bloomed anew, and the very stars twinkled with joy. In gratitude, the magical creatures bestowed their powers upon Lily and the shoe. They received a cloak woven from moonlight, a tiara spun from stardust, and a pair of shoes that could carry them anywhere in an instant. With these gifts, Lily knew she would always be ready for a new adventure whenever she put on her magical shoe, and so their journey continued, bringing light and hope to all corners of Fantasia. As the sun set over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, Lily and her shoe stood at the edge of the enchanted forest. Before them lay the Whispering Woods, a place where ancient trees hummed secrets on the breeze. But the forest was in peril. The once vibrant leaves had withered and fallen, leaving the trees bare and vulnerable. In the center of the woods stood a giant oak, its branches gnarled and twisted, its leaves long turned to dust. The great oak was the heart of the forest, and without its magic, the animals were losing their homes, the flowers their roots, and the very soil its life. A small, timid rabbit approached Lily, his fur dull and lifeless. "Please help us," he whispered. "Our forest is dying and we don't know what to do." But Lily, moved by their plight, knew she had to act fast. But how could she save the forest without the magic of the rainbow crystal? As she looked around, she noticed the starlight shimmering through the gaps in the trees. An idea sparked in her mind. She knelt down beside the great oak and traced patterns on the ground with her shoe. The patterns glowed brighter and brighter until they formed a circle around the base of the tree. Then, with the shoe still glowing, Lily stepped into the center of the circle. Suddenly, the forest came alive. Flowers sprouted from the soil, their petals unfurling in the soft starlight. Birds sang songs of joy, their melodies echoing through the trees. The animals, their coats now a kaleidoscope of colors, scampered happily through the undergrowth. The great oak, nourished by the starlight, felt its branches begin to stir. Its leaves, though withered, seemed to catch the glow of Lily's shoe and slowly began to turn green. Hope surged through Lily as she realized that the starlight held the power to heal the forest. But she couldn't stay there all night. With a final flourish, she stepped out of the circle, leaving the shoe in the center. The shoe continued to glow, bathing the forest in starlight. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, the forest thrived. The animals nestled in their cozy homes, the flowers closed their petals for the night, and the great oak stood tall, its branches heavy with new leaves. Lily, watching from afar, smiled. She knew that the forest would be safe now, at least for a while. And as the first rays of sunlight touched her shoe, she knew it was time to go home. With a final wave to the whispering trees, she slipped the shoe back on her foot and closed her eyes, letting the starlight carry her back to the familiar comfort of her room.